going live on all the things. LinkedIn always lagging behind. Let's go ahead and do it. Well, that wasn't right. Good morning, podcasters. Today is Wednesday, July 22nd, 2026, and today, podcast ad blockers, the real cost of podcast video, and why 60-second clips still matter for discovery. We're bringing down the headlines, changing how podcasters monetize, create, and grow. So if you're listening live on Clubhouse, hit the share button, top right-hand side of the screen, and share it however Clubhouse lets you. And if you're catching us via podcast, YouTube, LinkedIn, etc., please share this with a fellow podcaster. And now give us about 30 seconds, and we'll get things rolling. Thanks for being here. The Podcasting Morning Show is powered by Ironic Media, helping podcasters launch, polish, and grow great shows. And by Content Creators Accountant, helping creators build real business behind their content. Good morning again, Podcasting Morning Show. Thank you so much for being here. I am your host, Mark Ronick, and currently on stage with me, my co-hosts, Ralphie Steps, Sid Meadows, DR Fay, and BC Babbles. We also have Dan Schultz, as well as Dave Campbell on stage with us. Normally they're in the audience, although Dan's been on stage with us quite a bit lately and love that. And I've been encouraging Dave to join us on stage during our little pre-show for the past couple of weeks now. So glad Dave is up here as well. And a hello to Tim in the Clubhouse audience. Welcome. Glad you're here first thing this morning. And by the way, if you want to get to know our co-hosts, just go to podcastingmorningshow.com/people and you can learn all about them. Also, a little programming note for you. I know yesterday, if you were listening, I teased that we may be doing returning to our evaluation series tomorrow. I'm putting that on hold. We are going to return to that on Tuesday because we worked it out with a guest. Tomorrow on the show, marketing strategist and EPC3 speaker Eddie Garrison joins us to share practical ways that podcasters can use AI and social media more effectively. We'll explore what to post between episodes, when to hire social media help, how to create stronger prompts, and how to keep AI-generated content from sounding generic. And I see Tide Tutoring, a.k.a. Nikki, has just joined us. She is our subject for the evaluation series. And since she just walked in a little bit late, Nikki, we're doing that on Tuesday. So please, if you can, come join us on Tuesday morning, and we will break down one of your podcast episodes. I'm looking forward to doing that, and I know that some of the team has expressed how well done of a job you do there with your show. So we will learn a lot, I'm sure, on Tuesday. And until then, let's dig into some news, shall we? Podcast Business Journal. This is where I get this information, where I like to share these numbers to kick things off. The Podcast Business Journal is tracking something that they call active podcasts. An active podcast means that the show itself has been updated in some way, shape, or form, either in the last week or the last 30 days. I will give you stats on both of those. So we're talking about how many podcast feeds are still alive, current, and being maintained by the creator. And the reason why I share these numbers is because they give us a better sense of the real podcasting world. When people say there are millions of podcasts out there and, I can't do another podcast, there are just too many out there. That number that a lot of people refer to, 4.7 million, that number includes a lot of dead shows, abandoned feeds, experiments, AI podcasts that haven't been touched in years. So for indie creators, maybe the more useful question here is, how many shows are actually still showing up, publishing, marketing, and competing for attention right now? that active number is a much better snapshot of the current playing field. So the total podcasts updated in the last week, 180,524, and that's down just about 1% from the previous week. And if you want the 30-day snapshot, total podcasts updated over these last 30 days, 338,504, which is down almost 5% from the previous month. And again, this is probably the summer trend.
Summer, right.
Is that what you were going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say, why do you think it is? And I can start a conversation. Okay.
I mean, that's my guess is
Yeah.
we tend to see podcasters slow down in the summer. And I think some of that is because some of those podcasters are actually really digging into their numbers and they see that there is a lull with their own numbers. So they pull back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Others just need the break, right? So there's lots of different reasons why. And
and Mark, might this be an opportunity though for podcasters? If there's less market out there, it might be an opportunity to jump in with something new to replace something out there. So it might be a great opportunity for somebody.
I agree with you. I think, when people's favorite podcasts aren't putting out as much content, that is an opportunity for you. If you're putting out content and you are targeting that audience correctly, you might become a new favorite of that listeners. So good point, Ralph. And let's keep it moving. DR, you want to do the top fives?
I do. So this one is Edison, who is like the gold standard for everything podcasting. It's our data gold standard.
Yeah, their research, they do not just in podcasting either, TV, radio, etc. Lots of media
the podcasters look to as the one to everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, they have done their second quarter, the top 50 podcasts. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about their list. So number 5 is Smartless with Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Will Arnett.
Mm-hmm.
Number 4 is Call Her Daddy with Alex Cooper. Number 3, Cue the Timpani, The Daily at the New York Times. Number 2, Crime Junkie with Otto Chuck. And the number 1 podcast is the Joe Rogan Experience. We haven't said his name in a couple weeks.
No, because we try to do other lists, so
right.
we don't always say it. But so this is the top 5 for quarter 1 or 2. I missed it.
Quarter 2.
Okay. All right. There you go. And now you have a specialty list as well.
I do. So this one comes from Apple, and it is top kids and family podcasts.
Okay.
So number 5 is the Winnie Palooza podcast with Rebecca Green.
Okay.
Number 4 is the Zooquarium podcast. Number 3, Cue the Timpani, Wow in the World, Tinkercast. Number 2 is Circle Round. And the number 1 podcast in kids and family podcast is Greeking Out from the National Geographic Kids.
Cool. Love that list. Thank you, DR. And then, DR, something came across your desk today from the PodFest Messenger that you thought would be worthwhile sharing. So, why don't you dig into that?
Yeah, I think this is fascinating, and we got a story that goes into much more about this later on. But PodFest Messenger, the newsletter, they have a little graphic in their newsletter today, and it gives, the first column gives the category that a podcast would be in, like comedy, news, society and culture, true crime, sports, business, history, health, fitness, music, and arts. The column next to that is watch exclusively. So the percentage of people that watch exclusively on YouTube or, Netflix, anything like that. The next column next to that is listen exclusively. And the column next to that is watch and listen. So,
and we'll link to this, by the way. We'll link to this so that people can see it, exactly what you're talking about.
It's really interesting. So which category do you think our show would fit into of these categories?
Oof. Well, I wasn't paying enough attention to be able to answer your question. You tell me.
News, society and culture, news, business.
I mean,
Ralph, what do you think?
That's a tough one. Of those categories.
Maybe news business would be appropriate.
I mean, of that group, I would probably agree with you, but probably not the best fit.
Okay.
Might need a shoehorn for that one.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah. So of the business, 2% exclusively watch this, not this particular show, but watch in this
That
category.
category. Uh-huh.
Yeah. 30% exclusively listen, and 68% watch and listen.
Mm.
For comedy, 3% exclusively watch the
I had a feeling
podcast.
about that one. Okay.
Yeah. Listening for comedy, exclusively listen 30%. And watch and listen for comedy, 67%.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and
For some reason, I don't know why. Like, I can't tell you why. Maybe it's just based on my own listening habits, but I would say, yeah, with comedy podcasts, I tend to listen to them, not watch them.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
The one that has the most percentage of watch exclusively is the news. News, watch
Mm.
exclusively 4%, listen exclusively 30%, watch and listen 66%.
Interesting.
Yeah, the one that has the less of everything, watch exclusively is the arts, which really is weird because you would think that the arts are very visual,
That's true. Yeah, I
right?
guess it just depends on what art we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, so arts, 0% watch exclusively,
Hmm.
42% listen exclusively, and 58% watch and listen. How about that? I
That's
think that's
interesting.
really
Yeah,
interesting.
that
Yeah.
is really interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, that again, we found that in the Podfest Messenger, but I believe it's also covered in Pod News. Maybe it was yesterday or the day before. So yeah, check that out, and we will link to that as well. All right, I know normally I go right into events here, but I want to jump to this. Actually, Ralph, I always do that. I should hit this button.
Quick tip, smart move. Yeah! Content creators business bite!
And today's Content Creators Business Bite is brought to you by the Content Creators Accountant. Go to contentcreatorsaccountant.com. That's Ralph Estep, who's going to be covering this story. Ralph is my accountant, and he helps endless content creators, not just with their finances, because we say accountant because that's the name of the business. And Ralph is also here to help you take your podcast, turn it into more of a business, treat it more like a business. And he will handhold you, help you through that whole process so that you can really feel confident, not just about your finances, but about the business behind your podcast. So go to contentcreatorsaccountant.com, learn more about Ralph, and sign up for a discovery call and see how he can help you. With that, Ralph, please take it away. What do we got?
Well, thank you, Mark, and good morning, everybody. And I'm going to tell you this morning, someone just built an ad blocker for podcasts, and it's coming for the exact thing that pays our bills. So you better listen up to this one. There's a new free iPhone app. It's called Drea. That's Drea. Now, as soon as I heard that, I think that's from The Sopranos, Drea. But anyway, their website is drea.fm. That's drea.fm. Now, here's their whole pitch. It's a podcast ad blocker. You can point it to any show, and AI finds the ads and yanks them out automatically. It uses cloud AI and audio fingerprinting. Now, here's the part that matters to us the most. And this is the part that really rattled me a little bit. It doesn't just kill dynamically inserted ads. It strips out host-read ads as well. Those are the ones we bake into the episode. Here's an early report. It does it cleanly with no false positives. Say that 10 times in a row. It looks and feels like Apple Podcasts, and listeners won't even know they've switched. It's not alone. There's a whole pack of these. There's one called Zero Ads, Heard, Pure Podcast, and academia is in it too. The University of Hamburg researchers got AI to sniff out podcast ads from transcripts at 60% accuracy. So the tech is here. It's just getting sharper. But here's the stakes. Think about this for a second. Host-read ads. They're the bread and butter of this business for a lot of content creators.
Mm-hmm.
And they work because they're baked in and can't be skipped. But now skip the ad is one tap away. So if skipping the ad becomes one tap away, what happens to how we get paid? So I'm going to put this out for the room because I think this is something we all need to discuss a little bit. So let me put you on the spot. If there were a button that skipped every ad on our show, would our listeners press it? And honestly, bigger than that, would you press it? Because you're also a consumer, not just a content creator.
Yeah. See, that's the thing is I really, thank you, Ralph. I think that, as podcasters, we might react to that a certain way. I don't want to sway anybody yet, but we might act a certain way. And as a listener, we might also have a different reaction to something like this. So yeah, I am curious. What would you do? Would you use this feature?
Could you not pick and choose which ones, like, I want all the roll and all the post roll out?
I don't know. I don't know if it's that smart.
It's not the way I understand it. It's like it blocks it or doesn't block it, the way I understand it, DR.
Because if I'm reading a mid-roll about my services, I don't want that blocked.
Right. Yeah, but see, I think the ad detector will consider it an ad. And
see, that's the thing I talk about on the show all the time, Mark, is sell your own stuff.
Yeah.
And if this thing is going out and sniffing out the selling your own stuff, boy, we are in trouble with this one.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly right. Or maybe we'll have to find some creative ways of getting around that, but I'm not sure. BC, you wanted to chime in. Go for it.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm not sure if this is the best question, but I'll say it anyway. Are there any numbers right now that kind of suggest what it looks like to Ralph's point, with the skip this ad? It's been a thing for a while. Do we know how much that really, do we have numbers that say how much that already impacts advertisers today that we could translate to this new feature and like therefore kind of
I think
certify our might worry. Be too new of a feature.
Yeah, but I think if I'm understanding your question, BC, I think we have covered in previous news stories that for the most part, we were surprised because we thought that a lot of people skip, but it turns out, especially with host read ads, there's a high percentage of the audience that's actually staying and listening to those ads. So I don't have the exact figures off the top of my head, though.
I do throw something funny out there. I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. I want to throw something funny out there because if you go to their website, it actually says, say goodbye to podcast ads. Listen to your favorite podcast ad-free using Drea, the podcast trusted by 100% of Zen Buddhist monks. So that's who they're appealing to. And here's the best part. It's actually put together by a company. You're going to love this one, Mark. The name of the software company is Narcotic Software. So this is where we can get really deep on this. You know, I just think about Dre, and they got a picture like Wednesday Addams. It looks like for their icon for their thing. But this is very interesting stuff.
That is okay. So yeah, BC, did you want to add anything else? I feel like we might have cut you off.
Well, now I'm caught on the whole narcotics thing, appealing to Buddhist monks thing. That's a whole other concern. But I'll move on. I'm good now.
Okay, well, I think somebody else wanted to chime in. I just saw somebody flash the emoji and then I missed it.
Hey, that was me.
Go ahead, Dan.
It's so ironic that I'm sure this company wants to block all the ads so they can eventually put their own ads in.
You think
so? At least maybe for their own thing. Probably. That's usually what happens with this. This is really, truly going to hurt. It's not going to hurt in the beginning, probably, because very few people will know about it. But this is the kind of thing that will just get, people will start hearing about it. It'll just be the norm. It's going to hurt creators, and there's really not a lot you can do about it. But I just wish we could educate listeners that it's like, you guys, just play the ads. This is how we get paid. It's not a big deal. You can either buy a subscription and pay us money directly, or just listen to the ad. If the most podcasters are doing the thing where they're trying to get the message to market match and the ads actually make sense instead of a BetterHelp ad or something that doesn't make sense for their show, I don't get it. I wish we could just educate.
But Dan, then
people.
You have the podcasters like, who is it? Not Bené Brown, but the other
Mel Robbins
that has like a ton of commercials. That pre-roll is just, I understand,
painful.
It's huge.
Yeah. I mean, I try, if it relates to me, I try to listen to the ad because I want to help, but those, I don't care. I just skip.
Right. Me too.
But if I actually hear like somebody, a host reading an ad, even though I might have heard them read that ad 80 times, I actually try to focus on, it's like, I really love this podcast. How can I help them? Is this something I need? And it turns out I never need the perimenopause ad.
No,
but you're not the average listener, Dan. You're not the average.
Maybe not.
I know. Well, that's exactly. That's why I buy the perimenopause.
How can I help? Yeah.
No, I know, but that's why it's like more of a thing I wish we could just get in our heads. Like I never like, growing up watching TV, like, an ad would come on during Happy Days. It's like, holy cow, I gotta go to the bathroom quickly, or I gotta
Yeah,
go into the kitchen and
yeah,
get a snack. Like we all kind of understood the game then.
right.
Now it's like, I need this payoff right now, this dopamine. I don't want to wait. Like we already have to have like a hook that, you have to get their attention in 3 seconds. Well, what if I'm saying something that you can't say in 3 seconds?
Hmm.
Like we're hurting ourselves, I think, as a nation. I know we're not. That's just old man Schultz here trying to.
Get off
Well,
my
you
lawn.
already
I
you already showed your age when you referenced Happy Days.
That's right.
I loved it, Dan. You keep mentioning
Hey,
it.
I do
damn
too,
it.
and that's the second Happy Days reference in a row. Because yesterday, I think Jeff Dwoskin was on
That's right.
stage, and he brought up Henry Winkler,
Fun.
the Fonz.
Hey.
Yeah. So Dan's making great points, and it's really, this one's a real dilemma for me as a podcaster. But at the same time, to Dan's point, I do skip commercials all the time, so I'm not doing the hosts any favors anyway. If I had the pop-up blocker, or it's not a pop-up blocker, but it's just like one, really, I might use that. I don't know. It's a really tough one. I mean, what do you guys think? How should hosts respond if AI can detect and remove even a host read ad? Like, what do we do? Or do we just do nothing and kind of roll over?
I want to make one more point before
Yeah,
people
go
get
ahead,
into
Dan.
that. There more technology. So again, growing up, like there used to be a thing in AM radio. I mean, it's still there. It actually still happens. Where the player, what world am I?
Or radio.
Podcast player.
Oh.
Yeah, the podcast players probably do have this worked in now, though, too. But where the technology would listen for gaps before the show would go out, and it would reduce the gaps so they could make more room to insert more ads. So this is actually happening. I forgot what pretty big player is doing this. It's not Pocket Cast, but it's kind of a big player, is actually trying to take all of the podcast, and as it's playing, it's trying to find like, oh, we can shrink this little gap up, and maybe we could insert one of our ads in somewhere.
Mm.
So now you're going to have this weird AI battle where like one AI is trying to insert more ads, the
Wow.
other AI is trying to remove ads, and then pretty soon we're all going to be like, "Hey, welcome to and
Mhm.
next time on blah."
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
what was I just listening to?
Yeah, Ralph in the chat says battle of the AIs. Yes, that's going to be interesting.
But then again, how many of us listen to our favorite shows sped up a little bit?
Sure. Yeah, I do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the answer to all this, and it's funny because Adam Curry talked about this last week on Podcasting 2.0. He said the key is to build a community, build your followers, because then you're not worrying so much about these ads. So my takeaway, Mark, you asked how should we as content creators think about this? I think it just reinforces how ads aren't the solution. And the solution really is to get a domain, build your website, build your community, and have those loyal people who are not dependent on the ad. So you're not dependent on the ad revenue.
Yeah, and I wonder, because I saw you put that, having, this is encouraging us to build our website, to build our own community. And in some ways I agree. And it's not that I disagree, but does that really solve the problem if you were using your podcast for ads? Because we could put the actual audio video file on our website, but that means we have to depend on our audience to actually go to our website and consume it as opposed to how they normally would on whatever podcast player they prefer.
I agree with you. And I think that's why, and Sam Sethi says this all the time, I think we're pivoting to a place of where people are going to go to a location to get your content. Those are the people that will buy into a Patreon or a super chat or something like that. I think that actually is a better model for the independent do-it-yourself podcaster, because you're not going to win this race of CPM anyway. And this is just confirming the sadness of that, because now you're going to have AI bots that are going to strip out the very ads that you were trying to make money with. Now, I guess you're still going to make money with them because they're still being placed in your thing, and then this AI is stripping them out. But I don't have an answer. I wish I did.
Yeah.
But I think to drive them to some sort of community where you can own the content, for lack of a better way of saying it, is probably the best option at this point.
Thank you, Ralph. Sid, I want to come to you because as one of our community members who's recently monetized their podcast using sponsorship and ads, how are you feeling about an app like this that can remove ads from your podcast?
So I saw the headline of this. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I saw the headline of this in the email news that came over this morning. I didn't read it, but at the end of the day, um, I don't care. I don't care. Um, my sponsors are not sponsoring my show for a 30-second ad to be run to run in my show and to um make sure the audience hears. That's not why they're sponsoring my show. They're sponsoring my show for access to my community. And all the other things they get is well beyond the benefit they get from us is well beyond the actual ad that runs in the episode. So I don't really care. And to the point earlier, people hit the skip button and don't hear the ads anyway. So if this one removes it, then it removes it. But these also sound like really obscure apps that are definitely not showing up on my analytics as anybody is listening there.
Mm, hmm
And so, I'm just not worried about it at this point in time. If I start seeing that I'm getting a lot of plays on these apps, that might raise a red flag for me to consider. But again, my sponsors are buying a lot more than just an ad that is placed in episodes.
Yeah, thank you, Sid. And I just saw who says it. Billy in the chat says it just removes dynamically inserted ads, right? No, Billy. It's saying that it does post read ads as well. What Sid was sharing, I appreciate what he was sharing, and I feel like what this could mean is we're going to have to if this really takes off, we're going to have to get really creative about how we work with sponsors or even our own content. It probably means we might be using places like social media more, right? And really crafting some sort of ad campaign or promotion with your sponsor outside of the podcast in addition to the podcast. That could include banner
Now,
ads on your website, etc. Yeah, Sid.
so if it's using the transcript to identify the ad placement, then the first step is just to remove the ad from the transcript. I know the ads are in our transcript. I don't know that it serves a lot of value, but the first step would be just remove the ads from the transcript.
That's probably a clever way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that's where it's grabbing it from. I suspect this is grabbing the audio file, creating its own transcript through Whisper or something like that. So I'm not sure that's going to help because I hear what you're saying, Sid. That is a good workaround, but I got a feeling these folks at Narcotic Software have thought that through.
Hopefully not. But yeah, it's a good suggestion. Good test anyway. BC, did you want to chime in before we move on?
Before Ralph said that, I was going to say, I wonder if the trick then was going to be to keep your post reads as separate files and then add those in. So, like, I forgot who said it, but so that they're not part of the transcript. But I think also this kind of reinforces the importance of understanding your real estate as a podcaster, so that if this does become an issue, you consider all your other avenues through which you can share your sponsor, and hopefully that can help subvert any potential economic damage this could do to your podcast.
Thank you, BC. We have Billy just joined us. We were trying to get him up on stage and he wasn't getting up there, but he's here now. So I will give you the final word, Billy, and then we'll move on. Go ahead, Billy. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. I always love talking about sponsorships and ads and all this fun stuff. Well, and I was just going to say, this is even more of a reason for podcasters to really create that, dynamic relationship between their listeners themselves and their sponsors. Because, like, if you have a show about whatever, I always say fishing because that's the one I had the most success with. If I have a sponsor on there that makes a lot of sense for that audience, then they don't care to listen to that ad. They're actually interested in the content in that ad. So I think that even, kind of pushes the envelope a little more to go, hey, do your due diligence as a host or as a sponsorship salesperson and make sure you get the right fit sponsor in your show. And you won't have to worry about people hitting the skip button because they'll actually enjoy the content.
Yeah, that's true, Billy. And I wonder if that could end up being a workaround if we were able to do more product placement type ads, right? Where we're just kind of weaving in the sponsor somehow into our content. It would force podcasters to do a better job of finding better fit advertisers. Right. So, but I could see that being a thing. I don't know. This is a really interesting topic. It's why I wanted to jump right to it, and to be continued, I suppose. We'll have to see how this all transpires. DR, did you have something you wanted to add? No. Okay.
No, I just
saw
said
you
goodbye
open
to
your
my
mouth.
husband. So.
Oh, okay. I saw. Okay. Gotcha. Quickly, let me just share a couple of events around the world of podcasting that may be of interest to you. And you know where I'm going to start with this. The Empowered Podcasting Conference. That's coming up in actually 1 month from right now. We will be in Charlotte hosting Empowered Podcasting 3, which is an event that brings independent podcasters together, like I said, in Charlotte for practical learning, collaboration, and relationships that continue after the event. The full conference runs from August 20th. I know I've been saying 21st, but really the evening of the 20th is when things kick off through the 22nd. Things end on the 22nd after brunch, with the main conference day listed for Friday, the 21st, and Saturday, the 22nd. And if you want, use coupon code EPC Mark 20. That's Mark with a C, and you'll get 20% off. Also, by the way, today we're doing a live stream at 1 p.m. Eastern, Empowered Podcasting Live, and we're featuring speaker and creative partner to Empowered Podcasting, Jessica Schiller of Mozen Wellness. And Jessica helps people reconnect with their authentic voice, heal the experiences that have kept them feeling silenced, and express themselves with greater freedom and purpose. We'll discuss her EPC3 workshop. It's called The Frequency of Your Voice, and she'll explain what she means by the frequency of your voice, how listeners sense the energy and intention behind a message, why podcasters sometimes disconnect from their natural voice, and how greater presence can create a stronger connection with an audience. So that is today at podcastingmorningshow.com/EPC live. Yes, DR.
Okay, can you give us an update on how tickets are going?
Sure.
Also, give us an update on, like a week ago, we were asking for volunteers. How's that going? Stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah. So we currently, I don't know the exact number. We just had a flood of tickets come through over the past couple of days. I'm not sure of the total number yet, but I can tell you we are way ahead of schedule this year with tickets than we were last year. Way ahead. So this, I'm thrilled for it. We are another sponsor. Actually, a few more sponsors. We've had a couple of last-minute sponsors that are interested, actually paying sponsors. You guys know last year we had a lot of partners, but not a lot of paying sponsors. That's not the case this year. We're going to have some big giveaways as well. We'll be giving away, I don't want to say yet, but we'll be giving away some significant prizes throughout the event as well. And as far as volunteers, we have definitely at least 6. And I'm still accepting more because I think we're going to need several more volunteers. So if you're interested in being a volunteer, reach out to me. Just use the Contact Us form at empoweredpodcasting.com. Let me know, and we'll talk about that.
And the volunteers get what?
Volunteers get a free ticket to the event, an all-access pass. Awesome. And I think Sid had a question.
More of a comment.
Okay.
One day last week, I looked at the agenda and wow, what an agenda. It's going to be so hard to choose what to go to. That speaker lineup and the topics are just on fire. So congratulations, Mark, to you and the team. I know Jason had a lot to do with that in pulling those speakers together, and the agenda just looks really, really good.
Thank you, Sid. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm super excited about the agenda, and I'm excited because it's going to really be more than what we even had last year, because now Friday will be a full day as opposed to last year it was a half a day. So we've got multiple tracks running in the afternoon on Friday, meaning 2 tracks, and then same as Saturday. And yeah, the quality of speakers this year has definitely leveled up even more. And I didn't think that was going to be possible after last year's successful event. So yeah, come check it out. Empoweredpodcasting.com. Do all the things. Get your tickets and use EPC Mark 20 to get a 20% discount. Also, something a little sooner coming up here, Riverside is hosting a free live walkthrough of its new editor on Monday, July 27th. This session will demonstrate the redesigned editing workflow and give podcasters and content creators a chance to see how the new tools work before trying them in their own production process. So even if you are not on Riverside right now, but maybe you've been curious about it, their new editor tool is really impressive. I've been using it lately, and I'm really blown away by it. It's feeling more like editing software that you would get on your actual desktop computer. It's really impressive with multi-tracking and so much
I don't
more.
like it.
You don't like
I
it?
don't
Have
like
you been using it?
I went in, I had a show to edit last night.
Yeah.
And and I went in to download it, and everything has changed from the last show that I went, which is just a couple of days ago. Things have changed. I can't find stuff.
Okay.
And I don't edit on Riverside. I like to download the file and edit on my own stuff. And it is really confusing. I was so frustrated last night.
And I think it's fair to say, DR, that when things change for you on your software, you really have a hard time with it. Is that fair?
Dude, change is hard for everybody. Come on.
It is. And a lot of people, I think, can relate to that. So I'm just kind of teasing you. But I do know you get a little more flustered, say, than I do when there's a change in software. But it is noticeably different. So if you have a hard time with change, you're going to have to give yourself a little grace and take a little time to get to know where everything was moved to.
And don't use the script either, because, I know we have the words are hard in the morning. Well, change is hard in the morning, and Descript is the exact same way. I feel like all these tools are constantly changing, and they're making it difficult.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Ralph. Also, the last but not least, as far as the events around the world of podcasting goes, there's a community meetup for women, trans, and non-binary podcasters. The podcast space, this is a friend of mine, Anna Xavier, and Eurowaves are hosting a free in-person meetup in London on Thursday, July 23rd from 5:30 to 8 p.m. BST time. The conversation will cover audio and video storytelling, identity, pay inequality, funding, and collaboration. So more on that. If you're interested, we will put those show notes. We will put that link in the show notes. Now, I think, we lost DR for a quick second. Let me bring her back to the video. There she is.
Sorry.
That's okay, DR. All good.
It's a Wi-Fi thing, I think. I'm not sure.
I think it was you were bad-mouthing the tech, DR.
That's right. Riverside said,
I would have been much earlier than that permanently.
Good one, Ralph. I appreciate that. DR, you want to take the first news bite? We've been talking about Netflix over the past few weeks, and I know this is your story. Go for it.
Yeah, so Netflix wants your daytime attention. I'm not sure that they'll get my daytime attention. So Netflix says it's super encouraged, and that's in quotation marks, super encouraged by the early performance of its video podcasts, especially because people are watching them during the day, when the platform traditionally sees less activity. Co-CEO Ted, is it Sarandos?
Yeah, that's good. Yep.
Says that the shows appear to be creating additional viewing rather than stealing attention from Netflix's movies and television series. Netflix's early results support the strategy behind the video podcast push. These shows give the company lower cost programming that can fit into people's daily routines and attract viewers during hours when they're less likely to watch a movie or traditional television series. For podcasters, the more interesting question is whether Netflix will eventually invest in original shows from independent creators or continue relying on established podcast brands. And honestly, nothing can drag me from my court shows during the day, so they don't have me.
I used to work all the time with TV on in the background, and I've since over the past several years gotten away from it. Maybe it's my ADHD. I have a hard time doing both watching or even listening and working at the same time. Plus, it's really challenging when you're a podcast producer and a lot of your time requires earbuds in and listening to your clients' work. BC, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I'm a little confused. I thought Netflix was already busy trying to pivot towards offering a kind of live uh, TV kind of content as opposed to focusing more in on their podcasting.
Well, I think that, yes, that I think both are true. And I think what's happened is they've brought in podcasting over the past few months, and they, according to this article, they're seeing a lot of success. So if it is in fact a pivot, that's probably why they're seeing that they're getting daytime listeners or watchers because of their podcast content.
And honestly, all they've got to do is bring it in on their platform through, I'm going to say a bad word, through the RSS feed, and they could do it with the alternate enclosure. I'm going to get real techie here, but they could do that tomorrow. And that could be your go-to place to watch your podcast shows potentially. And it might be a wise thing for them to do. I mean, you figure that's what YouTube has done.
Yep.
So why not Netflix?
Yeah, you never know. To be continued there, but interesting because a lot of us were curious if this was going to be a failed experiment, and so far, early signs say it's actually working quite well for Netflix. In other news, what's that?
For the time being.
Yeah, for the time being. In other news, podcast awards draw a line. The New York City Podcast Awards have opened their second year with a pointed message. No categories for video, advertising, or AI. Entries start at just $75. Yes, it's an award thing, so you do have to pay for it. That is not uncommon. At a time when the industry keeps stretching the definition of podcasting, these awards are planting their flag around the audio craft itself. That's the NYC Podcast Awards, and we got that info from Pod News recently. DR, you want to take the next story?
Yeah, free press releases for podcasters. There is a company called Press Launch. It's a new press release distribution service built specifically for podcasters. It says it'll send releases to verified media contacts, publish them online, and add them to an RSS feed. I said the dirty word again. RSS feed. The service is free until mid-August. Then the cost will be about $59. That could be useful when a show has an actual story to announce, although sending a release still doesn't guarantee anyone will cover it. But think about any kind of milestones, or your dream guest is you finally got them on, or I hit 100 episodes, or any kind of milestone like that. I think that would be a good reason for a press release.
Adrienne Barker, she will be attending EPC 3, and she's a friend of Jonathan's from the Chatter community. If you remember Chatter, the alternative to Clubhouse. And I think she's behind that. Chatter is still going on, DR. It's just not going on in our world. It was way too much to try to navigate too many different things. So, yeah, but we love Chatter. Good luck to them. I hear they're still going strong. But yeah, Adrienne is behind this, and cool idea. But I do want to ask you, Ralph, I saw you shaking your head at some point. What was that about?
Look, here's my opinion on press releases. They're about useless because there is such a proliferation of these clowns out on the internet that'll do these. And I'm not calling her a clown. Don't misunderstand me. She may have a very valuable, but there are so many of these places that I was talking to a news reporter the other day, actually. And I said, do you read press releases? They're like, no, because we get bombarded with them so much now that it's just, you're spending money. I'm not sure it's moving the needle. Now, that said, if you want to send a press release to a particular niche that you're in, like I send a lot of stuff to James over at Pod News, and because that's the niche I'm in, that is very effective. But these like spray and pray, I'll call them, I think people are spending a lot of money on stuff and it's not getting them anywhere. And like I said, I don't know their product, so this isn't Ralph throwing shade on their product. I just be careful about where you're spending money, because it looks like the easy button. You're like, oh, for $99, I can hit 6,000 media outlets and be on this. Nobody's looking at that stuff.
Fair point. Yeah, I don't know if I can verify that or not, but interesting that you heard that from a news person as well. Dan, you wanted to add something, and then we'll go to Sid.
Yep, I have definitive evidence. This is not knowledge about this. So press releases are really good the same way getting reviews are good for your podcast. It's
Mm.
not going to really drive any kind of measurable listenership. It just doesn't. And I'll give you an example in 1 second. But where it does help is with the social proof. Like you want to make your podcast seem like it's a happening thing. Anytime you're in the news, even if you're creating the news, it's a thing. You should be telling your listeners, you should be putting it out on social. It just makes you look happening. And the same with your advertisers. You can tell them, oh, yeah, I was just featured in blah, blah, blah. So, as some of you may know, an older show I did was one of the very first podcasts, way like before podcasting was a thing. Did you guys know what Big Brother is? The TV show Big
I
Brother?
love Big Brother. I'm a closet fan and always have had
Okay.
a wish to be on that show.
Oh, geez. Get help, will you? Okay, so here's what happened. My first show, we were featured as part of a Time magazine cover story about the new breed of internet celebrity. And it was a huge write up. They talked about it, such a glowing article. We got zero, like literally zero people from being part of a cover story in Time magazine. Picture in there, everything. Beautiful hair, Mark. You would have loved it. No one followed us from that. Same year though is when the first season of Big Brother happened, and I was so mad because one of these, I forgot the characters, but someone was lying to someone,
Oh,
and we
that's a typical day
that's
on Big Brother.
that's the whole show.
Yeah.
Well, we hired a plane to pull a banner over the house with a message. Brittany, Claire knows you're lying, or whatever. I forgot the people. And that got us so much attention, like insanely, just huge information. And now, just fun fact, anytime the people are outside, CBS has to hire somebody to sit out on the roof and listen for airplanes, because if an airplane is coming, they sound an alarm and send people back in so jackasses like us don't ruin anything for their show. Isn't that crazy?
Yep, I
That's
did know
interesting.
that. I did know that. Thank you, Dan, and thanks for sharing the personal
Interesting.
experience. Sid, you wanted to chime in as well. Are you available, Sid?
Oh, I didn't hear you call my name. Sorry. Um, so I do agree with Ralph about the spray and pray press release. It's just I don't think it's a good thing, and I would never pay for a press release to be sent out. I don't know that has any value for me. And I when season 7 started, I sent a press release out to the 4 industry magazines because there are 4 of them, and every one of them picked it up and ran it. Can I directly tie it to listeners or follows to the show? No, I cannot, but I certainly was mentioned in the news, which is always great to be mentioned in the news and it gives you visibility. That becomes searchable as well. So then when I launched my new program that I talked about, my private podcast a few weeks ago, um, we did a press release for that. We sent that to every industry magazine again. Every industry magazine picked it up and ran it. And let me just tell you, the reaction from that, I can have a direct correlation to new enrolled students and discovery calls that I've had with potential participants in that through the roof. Um, Multiple dealer, distributor owners have called me. I had a call a couple of days ago with the HR consultant or an HR director of HR for a business that is aggressively hiring new people that wants to do a test with us to put a few people through this. And then if it works, which it will work, they want to just use this as part of their standard onboarding process. So it worked. It got a lot of coverage, and my calendar has pleasantly had a lot of meetings added to it to people want to discuss this because publicly on the website there's a link to schedule a call with me. So they can work if it's targeted to the right audience and the right industry magazines. And if they pick it up, it can be very beneficial for you.
Thank you. Another great real case, real life example. Thank you for that, Sid. I'm thinking about it here. The other thing that we're not factoring in as far as press releases go is whether or not, and I don't know this, I can't say this definitively, but I imagine they're also helpful for things like SEO and maybe even AEO, right? AI optimization. You never know because that's just more information. It's hopefully positioning you as an expert, a leader, your podcast being discussed. Hopefully that might help with things like SEO and AI. So who knows? But yeah, cool little service. We'll see how that one turns out. And we might even have them as a sponsor at EPC. More to come on that as well. We're going to go to BC for some tech news. BC, what do you got for us today?
All right. So Podtrac launches a brand new free cross-promotion tool for podcasters called Podcast Promo Trades. It's a free platform that helps podcasters exchange promotional spots with other shows. It allows creators to discover compatible podcasts while words in the morning, arrange their trailer swaps, and track cross-promotional campaigns, all with the goal of helping shows grow through audience sharing. Now, this offers a couple of different caveats. It's being used by a lot of large-scale publishers too, including American Public Media, NPR, SiriusXM, and more. So for podcasters, especially indie podcasters, this means cross-promotion continues to be one of the most cost-effective ways to grow a podcast. Smaller shows now have another tool to help identify potential promotional partners. Collaboration, not just advertising, remains a key driver for podcast discovery, and strategic trailer swaps can introduce your show to highly relevant audiences without requiring a paid marketing budget. So great new tool for indie podcasters. Go check it out. I'll give Mark the link here and see if it works for you.
Thank you, BC. Yeah, so that is by Podtrac, Podtrack. Check them out.
No K.
And yes, we will. What? No K. Right. Podtrac. Did I say K? I just slipped. I meant to withhold that, and I didn't. Okay, there you go. And we will put something in the show notes if you're interested in that. Also, by the way, just in case, if you are a Podbean user, they have added support for HLS video information inside podcast RSS feeds. In practical terms, compatible apps can receive a video version of an episode through the open podcast feed instead of forcing creators to upload separately to every closed platform. Adoption by listening apps will determine how useful this becomes, and obviously this is all from Apple Podcasts. And for today's headline, speaking of video, the headline is Video's Hidden Price Tag. Podcasters hear constantly that video creates more reach, and I can't deny that. It's particularly helpful for discovery. A new cost analysis asks a more uncomfortable question. How much extra time and money are creators spending for every hour of attention video actually delivers? So some key points from this particular story. Resonate Recordings, that's who did this survey, says adding video increases production costs by 77% for every hour of audience attention generated. Its analysis says video also triples post-production time per episode. The calculation attempts to compare production expense with the combined attention received across audio and video rather than judging video only by views. Video may still be worth the expense when it clearly supports discovery, a creator's brand, sponsorship inventory, or a platform-specific audience. The figures come from a production company's own analysis and won't apply equally to every workflow. A simple single camera setup and polished multi-camera show have very different costs associated to them. The practical question for indie creators is whether video serves a defined goal that can justify the added workload. So let's step back into yesterday's show for a second, where we were picking one, right? And let's play this little game. Which would you choose? Produce a simpler video consistently, or spend time improving the audio show, right? So it's produce video consistently, or spend that time instead, since we know it's a 77% increase, instead spend that on audio. Sid, what say you?
I would spend it on audio.
You want to share your answer? We don't have to play it like we did yesterday.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I got in trouble a
I
couple of
know,
times
I
yesterday,
know. We're
so I
not
was just
officially
like
playing that
the.
game.
I mean, I'm an audio first show with the video component. Why am I going to invest in perfecting a video? I would rather continue to invest in becoming a better podcaster with an audio first. Because that's my vision, right? So that's how I would want to invest my time and
Yeah.
resources.
I'm curious if yeah, Billy, I was going to say, I'm curious how some others feel. Yeah, go ahead, Billy.
Well, I was gonna say, Sid doesn't have enough money to invest into video to make him look good on video, so that's the reason why he would go audio first.
Yes, there would be like
Yeah,
surgery required and all this kind of get rid of my wrinkles and my little
yeah.
turkey neck thing. Yes.
You have a you have a face for radio, man. Me too, but I just keep putting it out there. Um, I mean, I've always loved video, and so I've always leaned into it. And so I will say, I think there's ways now with all the technology we have to create a really good looking show for not a whole lot of production cost. Maybe a lot more learning curve for some people, but so I would always go video first. You know, I think in my brand, it's like I am my brand. Like I create videos for a living, so I need to be on video and display my skills that way to get hired for the next project.
Yeah, and I think for Billy, it makes a lot of sense. You know, we're talking about increased cost, increased time that's involved in video, but Billy has figured out a formula for himself where he's actually making money. So it's worth that time to do that for somebody like Billy. And I think that's what this is kind of suggesting here in the article too. It's not saying, oh, it's a disaster for everybody. It's just saying the right people can adopt it. The wrong people, it's going to really take a toll with your time and your money. For us, and I know I've shared this before, but worth sharing again, the way that we do it is we're not investing time in the video other than the time it takes to press go live, right? But we're just using this video as is. We're not editing it, we're not producing it. We're just putting it out there with the audio, which the audio is the produced, the edited content. But when you go to our website at podcastingmorningshow.com and you click on any episode, especially recently, you're going to see an option. You're going to see the YouTube video right there, front and center. And right underneath that, you're going to see the audio player. We're giving our audience the ability to choose, and we're giving ourselves the freedom of wasting all that time and sometimes money, a lot of times money, into our video production. So yeah, we had an initial investment, maybe say for a better camera or what have you. But overall, I probably would have invested in the camera anyway for content creation. So there are some creative ways to get around that for sure. All right, so I think we are really short on time. We're going to run out of the story we wanted to get to about your shorts, your video shorts, and how those can help you with podcast promotion. Maybe we'll do that a little bit. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow before we get to our interview. But a reminder that we do have our interview tomorrow with Eddie Garrison, marketing specialist. He is also a part of the Empowered Podcasting community, and we're going to learn a lot about social media, how we can use it as podcasters, and AI as well. So we'll get into that all tomorrow. Join us at 8 a.m. Eastern at podcastingmorningshow.com/join us. And until tomorrow, make it a great day.